house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 18 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Van Scott. Thanks so much for your support on Patreon. I hope you're having a great day and enjoying the season so far. And if you guys want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so we have a lot to talk about here, guys. So yesterday I was telling you that it was looking like the vote could be flipping this week to save Tiffany. We had Day, Michelle, and James all being like, yeah, let's do this. We just need 2 more votes. We can do this. Is this vote gonna flip or what? So Day and Michelle were talking to Nicole in the London bedroom about keeping Tiffany. And Nicole was just like, oh my god, this is so exciting. She was like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, I was thinking we should keep Tiffany. Like, this is really awesome. She seemed really excited about it. She was like, why do we never talk? Like, why is this just coming out now? Maybe because you're always with Corey and you, like, abandoned your all-girl alliance. Just a thought. But then they're like, yeah, this is awesome now because James is also on board, so that gives us 4. And Nicole's like, well, I think I'll be able to get Corey's vote too, so that'll give us 5, and that's just what we need to keep her. So then Nicole's like, but I still think that we should talk to Pauly and Zakiya about it because they are in our alliance, and it would be weird to, like, blindside them with this. So then this conversation was interrupted by none other than Frank. Alright, so then Day and Nicole meet up again in the bathroom area. This time Zakiya joins them, and they tell Zakiya about the plan to keep Tiffany, and Zakiya's just like, yeah, I'll do whatever you guys want. Like, sounds good to me. I'm cool with voting out Bronte. Let's do this. So it looks like they won't even need Corey's vote. So then Zakiya's like I said, I'm cool with this plan, but how am I going to explain this to Pauly? So they're like, it's very simple. Just tell Pauly that Tiffany is never going to put him up, never coming after him, and also tell him that if Tiffany stays this week, then Frank and Tiffany are going to keep going after each other, so that's going to keep them occupied and keep them from coming after us. So it's kind of a win-win. Alright, so then Zakiya's like, okay, I'll talk to him about it later. And then freaking Nicole is all big talk. We should call her Big Talk Nicole. She's like, I don't care what the boys say. I am going to vote for Tiffany to stay this week, no matter what. We'll see about that. So then Zakiya presents the new plan to keep Tiffany to Pauly. They're talking out on the hammock. And Zakiya's like presenting her argument. She's just like, it really just doesn't make sense for us to get rid of someone who's on our side and someone who is hardcore gunning for Frank. Like, why would we get rid of her and keep somebody like Bronte who could come after us? So Pauly's like, yeah, we're not keeping Tiffany. He is so against it. He's like, we need to look at this long term. She is a long-term threat. Say she does stay and she gets rid of Frank, great. But then who's she going to go after? She's going to go after me and Corey. She's going to go after me and you know, the showmances. So he's also saying that Tiffany is more likely to win competitions than Bronte. I don't understand that because Bronte's done okay in a few competitions so far, and Tiffany is just had a very poor showing thus far, from what I've seen. But then he starts comparing her to Vanessa from last season. It's just like, oh my god. Of all people, Pauly is the one who's doing this. I feel like Pauly would not be happy if he was a target just because he's Cody's brother, you know? So I'm really surprised that he keeps comparing Tiffany to Vanessa like that. But then there was this powwow in the backyard about this week's vote. James, Nicole, Corey, Michelle, and Pauly were all out there. So James was just like, I don't know, a bunch of us are out here right now, like, what's going on with this vote? What are we doing? So everyone out there is saying that they should keep Tiffany except for Pauly. So Pauly's just like, no, Tiffany's a long-term threat. She's going to be dangerous if she's anything like her sister. Like, we'd be really stupid to, you know, miss this opportunity to get rid of her now. And he just will not let go of the Vanessa thing. He keeps going on and on about it and how Vanessa was sneaky and, like, she made all these deals and blah, blah, blah. Again, Tiffany is her own person. Tiffany is not Vanessa. So then Day and James are comparing notes. Day is like, this is great. We've got the 5 votes that we need. Me, you, Nicole, Zakiya, and Michelle. It's all set. And James is like, yeah, about that. We were just talking out in the backyard and it did not go well. Pauly is kind of steering people away from keeping Tiffany, and he thinks that, you know, it's going to have a big influence on Zakiya because Pauly and Zakiya are so close. And Day is really annoyed that the girls, meaning mostly Nicole and Zakiya, are being swayed by these showmances. She's sick of it. She's annoyed. So James is like, yeah, well, we're really going to need to make sure that we have these votes for Thursday if we're actually going to go ahead and do this, because they don't want to be on the wrong side of the votes. So then this is where things start getting ridiculous. Nicole goes outside to the backyard and she's talking to Corey, and she's like, yeah, it looks like we definitely have the votes to keep Tiffany, but I don't want to. What are you doing? So then she's like, I don't want to piss off Frank, like this is going to make him really angry and he's protecting us, so I don't want to upset him. And then Nicole is saying that she does not trust Day, and if she wins HOH next week, Day is going to be her target. What? So then she goes on to say she's even considering telling Frank that Day tried to flip the vote this week. You little snitch! Oh my god! That's so messed up. So then she brings up she's also starting to get nervous about Michelle. She's seeing Michelle and Day get closer and closer, and she doesn't like it. So of course, Corey's agreeing about everything because what else is he going to say? Alright, so then Nicole chats with Pauly about this week's vote, and she's just like, do you think Day is like trying to convince everyone to keep Tiffany? Like, did she do that to you? And Pauly's just like, no. And she's like, well, she did that to me, but I don't want to keep Tiffany. So Nicole is like, Day is just doing this because she wants to make Frank mad, and I don't want to make Frank mad. Oh my god, Nicole. So then Paul agrees, like, yeah, if we get rid of, if we keep Tiffany, Frank is going to think something's up. It's going to motivate him to fight for that HOH. And basically Tiffany's got to go. Alright, so then Frank and Nicole are chatting by the pool about creating this new alliance. And Frank is like, I want the 2 of us to make an alliance of 4 with Bridget and Corey. Oh, that sounds awful. So he's like, we'd be an awesome alliance, it would be amazing, but Bridget is a little bit nervous because she hasn't really talked with Corey much. There's like no relationship there. So Nicole is vouching for Corey. She's just like, oh no, he's great, he's super trustworthy, blah, 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 blah. He's wonderful. So then they talk about how they're all on board to get rid of Day next week, preferably via the roadkill nomination. That's going to come up again later. It's really important. So James and Day were chatting again, and Day is talking about how she really wants to win the next HOH because she knows that she's Frank's target, and she thinks it'd just be so freaking awesome if she won HOH and was the one to get rid of Frank, and it actually would be really awesome. I think so anyway. So then they talk about how they're starting to worry about Nicole. They're seeing her talking to Frank a lot. Yeah, the alarm should be going off, people. So then James also points out some concerns about Pauly. He feels like he's becoming the next Frank. Yeah, he's trying to like call all those shots. He's telling people secrets. And he thinks that Pauly's going to take over once Tiffany and Frank are gone. So James is like, if I win HOH, I might actually put up Corey and Pauly. No lie. Alright, so then this is crazy. Well, the next part after this is crazy, but this is leading up to it. So Michelle, Bridget, and Frank were talking outside last night. It was like 2 a.m. And I was a little bit surprised about this conversation. I felt like Frank was giving out a lot of info. So Frank was talking about how he was thinking about maybe targeting Pauly next week via the roadkill. But then he's like, so how do you feel about Davon? Oh yeah, but he said Davon so freaking weird. He pronounced it like Devon. I don't know, it's like really weird. But he was saying maybe Davon is the one to go after next week and not Pauly. She might be a bigger target. Because he really feels like Day is going to want to make a big move soon, and that big move could be getting rid of him. So he wants to beat her to the punch. So, of course, Michelle's just like, yeah, sure, it sounds good. So she's just, like, going along with it. But then Frank lets some info slip, and he's just like, oh, okay, cool. Nicole wasn't sure if you would be down with it. And Michelle's just like, wait, Nicole knows about this? Like, what? And Frank is like, oh, yeah, Nicole and Corey are totally on board. And Nicole just wasn't sure if you would be down to go through with this. And Michelle's just like, oh, no, I'm cool with it too. Mental notes. So then after that conversation, Michelle reports back to Day about her being the target, which Day already knew. But then Nicole comes in too, and Michelle's like, yeah, so Frank said that you and Corey are in on this plan to get rid of Day next week, and you didn't want me to know about it. Oh, shit. So then Nicole is just like, I didn't know anything about this plan. Like, it was really weird. She was just like, I didn't know about that. She is denying it hardcore. So then, I don't know, Michelle and Day didn't seem too concerned about Nicole's involvement in this plan, and I'm still not sure if they were just trying to play it cool in front of her, or if they just thought that Frank was, like, stirring up some crap, because it didn't seem like they talked about it later on. But they just kept going on with their conversation about how much Frank sucks and things of that nature. And Nicole just kept bringing up, like, I'm so pissed that Frank's throwing my name out there. And, like, she just kept bringing it up over and over again. And she's like, Frank's got to go next week. So Nicole was not doing a good job of, you know, hiding the guilt. But it really did seem like Michelle and Day didn't realize that that was for real. Like, Nicole really was in on that plan. So that was it for last night. Today was off to a really freaking slow start. People weren't getting up till like noon, afternoon. But yeah, it seems like the Save Tiffany movement is pretty much dead at this point. I think people have moved on from it. Maybe she'll come back. I don't know. We'll see. But tomorrow night is eviction night, so let me know in the comments. Do you guys think that there's any chance of Tiffany staying this week? Leave it in the comments. And until tomorrow, much love.
Edit.